The first face-off is almost here. The nominees are off the campaign trail today, gearing up for the first presidential debate. This as Donald Trump is taking the lead in some key battleground states. Robert Wolf is outside economic advisor to President Obama and 32 Advisors CEO, and he joins me now. I want to talk to you about the debate a little bit. Hillary Clinton's in a tough position. You know, people always say, I want to hear more about substance. I want to hear more about issues. But then they say that they, don't feel like she's human. She's not likable. How does she get out there and balance those two things?
Well, I think one, there'll be equal amount that said she's actually doing very good. She did great in the debates versus the president. She did great versus Bernie. So there's always two sides. I think that, I think this debate's going to be hopefully substance over style. I think there's going to be 100 million people possibly watching. They want to hear real things. I think it will be very different than what Ted Cruz just said about Donald Trump. I don't think it will be about narcissism or whatever the other words he used. And let's just hope that the moderator can make it a real debate.
What would be the best way for her to get her economic message out? I mean, if you wanted to put it in a nutshell, since that's your specialty, what words would you give her?
Well, she has had real deep policy. I mean, she's always been a bit wonkish when it comes to talking about economic policy. She's going to lead with infrastructure. It's clear that if you look at what she has said about infrastructure, it's a deep dive. It's, one of my backgrounds. If you see what he said about infrastructure, he says we're going to build a wall. So I think when the moderator...
But stick with her. So you think she should say infrastructure?
I think infrastructure should be her core ingredient, and then I think we'll go into what I'll say some of the more social issues, like education and skills.
Spending money on that would be like, if we're looking from an economic perspective, investment.
Listen, there's going to have to be some fiscal stimulus in this country. I mean, there's no question. You're going to have a balance of... Monetary policy is not going to do much more. We're at zero rates. We're not in a crisis. So rates are going to go up over the coming years. So we need some fiscal stimulus. So I think infrastructure is absolutely going to be at the forefront. And then I think advanced manufacturing. I think, listen, we need corporate tax reform, and so both sides want corporate tax reform. I mean, if you recall, President Obama wanted to bring tax reform to 28% to business, 25% to manufacturing, but it had to be revenue neutral, and you were never going to get that passed. So I think that both sides, Republican and Democrats, know that we need.
How does she talk about, did you say bringing manufacturing back or manufacturing core? How does she frame that?
Well, she talks about using advanced manufacturing. She has an all-in clean energy approach. Obviously, it is looking at how we have energy at the forefront. We are now energy independent as a country. It's the first time that we're not now, focused on where Middle East oil is. And so I think that that's going to be one of the core specialties of what she talks about.
I don't know if she brings up the estate tax. I mean, the way that I'm reading it, it's pretty ridiculous because she talks about raising the estate tax on people who do not pay it. I mean, we all know that if you're making if you have more than $10 or $50 million, you have an estate planner that has your assets shielded one way or another. The people that pay the estate tax are the folks that don't have a lot of money, who leave a business to someone when they die suddenly, and their kids then have to sell the business to pay the government.
I have not seen much of her detail on the estate tax. I saw yesterday it was like 65% for over $500 million. I'm not over $500 million, so I don't have a view on the 65%. If I did, I'd probably say, we'll worry about it then. But I do, listen, I'm not someone for a high estate tax, so I actually think we're paying taxes all along. I'd be on the other side. Listen, I am a huge supporter of the secretary. I like her economic plan, but I'm on the other side on estate taxes and other side on TPP.
Let me ask you about one. Oh, that is it. You're on the other side of TPP, huh? Oh, we get back to that. You're our former chairman of UBS, so I wanted to get your take on Wells Fargo and the whistleblower who is speaking out against the CEO, John Stumpf. Let me play this for you.
He should be jailed. He should be criminally investigated because this problem will go on forever. We're going to see tomorrow other banks doing the same, and they could just get away with a small fine, like the one we have. $190 million for Wells Fargo. It's $190 bucks for me and you, Liz.
There are a lot of people jumping on that bandwagon. How do you respond to that?
Well, listen, when you are at a financial services firm, there are a myriad of different issues that come up. I like John Stumpf. I know him. I've met him. I'm a fan. I was there the Lehman crisis. I was there that weekend as one of the executives. I have always said post that there should be a separation of the chairmanship and the CEO. I think that would actually give a voice of independence I think the jury's out on what's going to actually happen. You know, to him, his executive committee.
I mean, a lot of people calling for criminal charges, though.
Yeah, I would hope not, and I'm not familiar with the legal system, criminal versus civil. I know that with respect to what happened at Wall Street, you know, the last number of years, unless you did something criminally, you can't just have a criminal trial. I do not believe John Stumpf did something criminally.
Okay.
Like I said, I think he's a genuine, honorable guy.
Yeah. Robert, well, thank you so much. I hope you'll come back.
I look forward to it.
All right.